I've never seen a diamond in the flesh. I cut my teeth on wedding rings in the movies, and I'm not proud of my address.
We're not just building muscle, we're building men. In the quiet hours, in the unfiltered moments, in the conversations that happen before the world wakes up. This is the Gloom, where brotherhood forms in the dark so we can lead in the light, where vulnerability is strength and leadership is handed from man to man, one story at a time. Our mission is to empower, exhort, and inspire men to achieve their best selves through stories of reinvigorated male community leadership. We bring you weekly interviews with F3 Omaha PAX, ordinary men doing extraordinary things in fitness, fellowship, faith, and leadership, because we believe that every man has a story, and reinvigoration starts when that story is shared. This is the Glue in the Gloom. Shout out to our sponsors, Avior Wealth Management, Liberty Core Real Estate, Major Team Mortgage, Exclusively Eye Care, Omaha Laser Dentistry, and McNamara Law Firm. We appreciate your support. What's it like to love your dentist? Well, you're about to find out, where healthy smiles go beyond your teeth. No drilling, no needles, and no anxiety. Relax, it's Omaha Laser Dentistry. Welcome to better. At Omaha Laser Dentistry, Dr. Bullenparty uses the Solea laser, a CO2 laser that's used in all of his day-to-day patient care. He provides thorough exams, assessments, and treatments for things like snoring, tethered tissue, and extractions like wisdom teeth, as well as other surgeries. Check him out today at omahalaserdentistry.com. Discounts may be available for F3 Omaha members. Now, let's get back to the Gloom. And we're back. Excited. Another one of these interviews. We get to do these and just always are my favorite part of the day. I've got another great leader on the other side of the screen, and my man Korver, recently a site Q at the Bell Tower, right? Or Dongtown. Yep. I don't know. You'll have to tell us if the name got changed or what. But yeah, man, I don't know that I've had a chance to work out with you too many times in the Gloom. So I'm really excited just to get to know you and hear your story. So I appreciate you taking time to chat today. But why don't you start us off from the beginning? Tell us the EH story. And then we'd love to hear, like, what was your impression of that first workout? And then, of course, we got to hear about the name. How did you get the name Korver? Because you are not Kyle Korver, right?
I am not. Yeah, that is something I will not claim. He's got about 100 pounds less than I do. Probably about 6-7 inches taller as well. So appreciate. Thanks for having me on. Just a great opportunity to join and hear and talk with you as well. We haven't had the opportunity to work out too much, but there's always the future for sure. But
that's right.
For me, let's see. So my first beatdown was at the pit in April, and I always get that confused because I'm always like, it was cold that day. I had a hoodie on, a hat, winter gloves, it was April. I always keep thinking it's like October or November, but April, I'm coming up on. I'll be 4 years here this next April, and
wow.
Firewalker was my manager at the time. He kept, it took him about 2 years probably to get me out.
Okay.
So it was, just constant. I always like working out. I mean, grew up playing sports, fortunate enough to play college basketball. So, working out wasn't ever a problem. It was always like, hey, I didn't need to go find another group to work out with. I could always just go and get it in myself. He was like, no, he's like, it's just a bunch of great guys, great guys having fun. And, at that time in life, I was like, oh, you know what, I'll give it a shot. It seems hard. There's some opportunities to grow, not just stay in my own little consistent workout. And so he texted me Friday night, was like, hey, see you tomorrow morning, at the pit. And I'm like, all right. And I show up and, he's not there. And I'm fortunate to be able to know some people in the Papillion Bellevue area, and so I knew a couple of the guys. Fundip was on the queue that day, so I was fortunate enough to know him, and so I felt comfortable enough to where I wasn't just jumping into a group of guys working out, had no idea what I was going to do. But yeah, I can't remember what that's called when you somebody and you don't show up, but yeah, that's Firewalker for sure.
Yeah, there's a name for it. Was he just fart sacking, or did he have something come up, or what?
No, he just was trying to get me out. It was one of his probably 800 attempts to get me out. So he was like, yeah, I just sent a text to hopefully have you show up, and he knew the group of guys that were there, so it was like, he knew I'd be okay, and knew quite a few of them, so it worked out. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I love it. What so you showed up to the pit. Fundip was leading, so it must have been a difficult workout, would be my guess. What was your take on it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's not many that I've been to fun dip or double dips workouts that aren't tough. But yeah, that was pretty brutal. It was, we were actually running around the pond there. And so it was like a sprint. Although, my sprint is more like everybody else's, like slow jog. But it was a sprint around the pond, and then a series of 50 reps of different exercises and stuff. And so, yeah, it was tough keeping up with them. I'm a little bit of a competitor, so I always try and push myself beyond the limits, and definitely felt it after that first one. So
nice. What and then tell us about the name. So how did you end up with the name Korver?
That was one thing Firewalker never, like, I knew he had and everybody had their own nickname, but I didn't know how that happened or anything like that. So I didn't really like go in with any expectations, and then got put in the circle. So I'm like, okay, well, I naturally want a cool name. So I'm telling everybody about how I'm a diehard Vikings fan, and I played basketball at UNO and all this fun stuff about me. And they're like, okay, well, did you play any defense in basketballs? No. Shot a lot of threes. I think even my freshman season at Kearney, there's a story that like Coach Kropp pulled the team aside at probably halfway through the season and asked the team how many 2-point shots I had. And it was under 10, and I had over 100 3-pointers. So, and so Kyle Korver came out then, and I was like, well, I'm not really a Creighton fan. I went to UNO, so I'm kind of like a diehard Mav. Then of course, whenever you say something that you don't like, it naturally is like, that's it. So yeah. So I got Korver, which, he's something to live up to. That's for sure. So.
Yeah. Initially were you bummed, or have you kind of
No, not at all. No, okay. Yeah, it's good. It's fun hearing all the nicknames thrown out and different things. You hear it's all good, and yeah, name is a name. You just gotta keep get the call back. I get a couple guys calling back Brick or Swish or get that out of here. You get a couple of them, so it's all good loving. So
that's fun. I love it. So you played college basketball at UNO or UNK, or where were you?
I started at Kearney, so UNK, and then transferred after my sophomore year. So junior, senior year, actually had a fifth year, because I ended up breaking my leg my junior year. But so yeah, I played finished out my career at Omaha. So yep.
Okay. So growing up, I'm curious. I mean, I would imagine, right? You got to be pretty fit to play basketball. So coming into this first workout, do you feel like had you gotten out of shape then since basketball?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. After college, I kept playing a little bit, playing some leagues around town here in Omaha, and stayed connected for about 5 or 6 years. And then started having my own little ones, started coaching and started relaxing, getting into family life. And so I definitely was and probably still am a little bit out of shape, but getting out there and being with the boys, and then also just being a competitor. You rise to that occasion, even if it sucks for the rest of the day. Yeah. I'll be out there trying my best. So,
heck yeah, I love it. Yeah, it is interesting, right? Like, just the competitive nature is sometimes what you need to get you out and get after it, and you'll push yourself. I do think for a lot of us, that's even if we think we're not competitive, there is something about seeing the guy next to you doing the same thing, and you're kind of like, well, I could do that, or I could do more reps, or I could run faster, or it kind of helps pull you along a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah,
What
absolutely.
so as you think about, gosh, 4 years, that's a long time, right? So I would be curious, like, as you came into the group, so the pit on Saturday, right, is more of like a boot camp style site, but how did you progress throughout the different sites? Like, have you done a Murph or the halfway house, or what's been kind of your
Yeah.
journey there?
Yeah, for the first actually probably couple years, I was only a one or two, maybe three at most posts a week.
Mhm.
The pit was one that I would do. Bell Tower when it opened was definitely one that was kind of like a staple. Being a Bellevue West alum myself was like, hey, I got I had blood, sweat, and tears on the football field and the basketball court. Felt a lot of connection to it.
Mhm.
So that made it even better to be the site queue there. Yeah, so the first couple of years it was very limited. These last couple have been a lot more. So I've definitely been posting around a lot of Murphs now at the box car. I've only done one halfway house, and that was when I was training for my marathon as a site queue
Mhm.
for Bell Tower. So that was yeah, tough. Yeah, I've dabbled a little bit. One thing in the F3 career that I haven't done yet is definitely want to get out. I'm kind of the Bellevue Papillion area. I've been to a couple sites in Gretna, but haven't ventured out into the Douglas County and that area. And would every time I do like an event like CSOP or something like that, you meet a lot of great guys from a lot of different areas, and it's a good opportunity to just connect with other people too.
Heck yeah. Yeah, it is interesting, right? Just, I mean, the way we've grown, even like Sarpy, right? I mean, the Sarpy and Bellevue areas you've added sites there, which has been awesome to watch that growth. But then each time we add more sites, it's harder and harder to get around to all of them, right?
Yeah.
Because gosh, when you started, right? I'm trying to think back 4 years ago. I don't even know if we had a site on every day of the week. Like, was Mount O around when you
Yeah, no, I
started,
think
or?
Mount O was just getting started.
Yep.
It was kind of like right in that area of a lot of growth in the Papillion, then multiple sites on the same day, like Mount O and Danger Zone. But yeah, there's even Bell Tower wasn't up until a couple months in at least
Yep.
for me. So it was all Papillion pretty much.
I love it. Where have you kind of found your groove? Like, do you like the coupon sites or the weight sites, or do you kind of like them all, or what's your preference?
It's scary to say it out loud, but I've ventured more to the running,
Oh, okay.
and coupons. They are tough. They're fun workouts, but you're in for it, and it's going to be sore the next couple days for sure.
Mhm.
And so while I'm still not a keep up with Farva type of runner, I do enjoy that a little bit more, staying active, staying in motion, than hitting some of the sites, but with weights or coupons or something like that. But it's so yeah, I do venture more towards that than I do the other. So
Interesting. That's cool. Yeah, we have something for everybody, right? But you kind of find your groove. What have you ever done a Farva Murph? Have you ever tried anything?
I have, yeah. Those are, man, it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. See, I always have to, if he wants me to lead a mile, I have to lead it early on because he knows
Okay.
like when we get to 7, 8, 9, 10,
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, no, I'm not making. I'm out 5 minutes, back 5 minutes, trying to keep a 10-minute pace, keep up with those guys. But yeah, those are great days. They're tough, and I always joke. I'm like, we don't come out here to do easy stuff.
That's right.
We're out here, and so I don't always check the site queue or not the site queue, the queue list on what site I'm going to. When I show up and I see some of those hammers out there, I'm like, oh, we're in for a tough one today.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's fun.
That's kind of a fun way to do it, right? Just kind of show up and let, whatever, go to whatever site that you want to go to, and then let kind of fate, determine it.
Yeah,
I like that. I'm gonna have to do that more often instead of queue shopping. Sometimes I'll sort of look around like, I don't know, what am I in for?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
just trying to think through, as you're getting into F3, and then all of a sudden, like, you were in it for a while, and then we launched that site at your alma mater, right, at Bellevue West. What was that like sort of get to be a part of that and sort of feel like, okay, now this is in my community where I'm from, kind of thing. I don't know. What
Yeah.
was your experience there?
Yeah, a lot of pride. It's with Girl Dad launching it and really starting to see a lot of the guys come out. It's just it's exciting to be back there. Even every Friday, just going back and we were there for 4 years of high school, and so you have a lot of the nostalgia and so yeah, it's there's a lot of pride there that when we're out there having fun in the Gloom. So yeah, it's been really good. And Stranglehold taking over before me. There's some glory there between those two guys, and then me, and then now Tweety taking over.
Mm.
It's on its way back up from me. So.
Are all of the former Site Qs Bellevue West grad?
No. Stranglehold, Strangle's a Bryan guy, so we give him a little crap for that. And then Tweety lives local now, but he's a Northwest guy too. So Girl Dad and I are holding down the fort for alums. So
Okay. You gotta, yeah, it's interesting, right? Some guys put that in the bylaws, right? Like you can only be the Site Q if you've been, alma mater from the school. But where would you say you're at, like in terms of like your fitness goals, like where you at today? You kind of made a comment there that you feel like you think you maybe have a ways to go, but I'd be curious if you feel like you've made progress in 4 years.
Yeah, I do still have a ways to go. I have made progress, absolutely. And where I'd say the progress is made, and this relates definitely to being the Site Q, is, I saw when Strangle was the Site Q, he went out and did the Mortimer out there in the Appalachians with those guys and doing some hard things, right? Girl Dad running a couple races as well. I was like, when I'm Site Q, that was something I wanted to do. I wanted to do something hard outside of my comfort zone. So I ran the Lincoln Marathon. My furthest run before that was 10 miles in my entire life. And so training for it and then actually completing it, I've done some, that was definitely the hardest thing I've ever done. Now, was I or am I in the shape that I want to be in? No, but knowing that I can go out and train and do something like that, it gives me excitement for more. Also did the sprint triathlon here in Omaha not too long ago with Tweety. And so looking at some of the, next year, you got the half Ironman here in Omaha and things like that, talking to a lot of guys, getting excited for something like that. So yeah, I can definitely get there. Former athlete, it's always like, hey, you just got to go and put the work in and consistency. And so, my M and I have differences of times. She's a night owl, I'm not. And so there's a lot of that where it's like give and take of, hey, stay up, watch a couple shows versus, waking up at 4, getting into pre-run and then getting into Beatdown. So yeah.
That's exactly the same conversation we have at my house. Am I going to bed? And sometimes I'll try to burn the candle at both ends, and then I end up, falling asleep. But when we're putting the kids to bed, and then I hear about it. So I can relate to that. Man, a full marathon is like that's an accomplishment. I mean, that's a lot. You trained for months in advance of that, right?
Yeah. It was so this is the first year. We're still before December 1st, but this is the first year in the last 2 that I haven't started 75 hard about this time. So there's a group of us that kind of have been doing 75 hard, and the first year I did it, 3 weeks in, I got shingles, and it put me out. It was horrible. But I was down like 15 pounds in 2 weeks from it. And then, so there's been people that said, hey, maybe you stressed your body out too much to give you that. But, and then I completed it last year, and that kind of kickstarted me towards, the marathon training and things like that. That was a challenge, keeping the diet, keeping the water, the no alcohol and all that, was tough. And that just propelled into the marathon, being able to continue running more, and finish it. Now, granted, my goal was about 5.5 hours. That was kind of my goal. I came in at 5 hours and 57 minutes, and they were kind of cleaning up the stage. And hey, I did it under 6. So I was pumped. And then just the mental challenge, right? Of there was like mile 13 to 17 where I was like, I got to be at like 20 now, and I'm only at like 14. I'm like, this is the longest thing ever. It was fun.
Yeah, good for you, man. I still have not. I think the longest I've ran is maybe 19 or 20. And a lot of it's time, right? Like, where do I find the time to train and then to go for that event? So that's, yeah, you should be proud of that. I think just to finish, right? I mean, it's not a short distance, and man, and under 6 hours, I think is pretty good. So good
Yeah.
work, man.
Yeah.
So much of what we do in F3, right, is about the fellowship piece. So I want to get your thoughts on that. Like when you think about the second F, it sounds like you knew some of the guys, right, that first day, but how did you, I don't know, talk me through like developing some of those friendships and just kind of the different ways that you did that. What was most helpful?
Yeah. Yeah, for me, that's really been the biggest part. And I thought the working out would be, but because I've always had, like, from basketball, I've always had a pretty solid friend group. And so I was like, didn't really need to continue to expand that. And it's actually changed a lot of my friend dynamics. Now a lot of it is more geared towards F3 than it is on the outside, and just the values and continuing to be out and consistency. That's where it's changed. And yeah, I knew some of the guys going out to my first one, and a lot of those guys still have great relationships with, but it's actually I've built a couple more that, Busser, OGK, Fresh Prince, Camel, Ratchet, Tweety, these guys, we're on a text string with accountability, like, hey, who's getting out tomorrow, who's doing things, and it's, those are some of my guys that, we're out there consistency, and even when we're, hey, we get a sad clown phase or something like that, those are the people checking in, and so I've built a lot of good friendships that I didn't even know would be out there, and it's been pretty sweet.
That's awesome. What was helpful to develop those relationships? Like, how did you? I mean, I do feel like you're kind of maybe a little bit more outgoing, right, than most guys. So I don't imagine you had any issues like, starting a conversation. But what else was helpful to kind of build the relationship with those guys?
Yeah, I think pre-runs have done a lot, and then I wouldn't say that those guys are at my pace, but they're the ones that kind of like, hey, hung around and like, hey, I'll run with you, or let's go at this pace, or hey, maybe let's ruck today, or I'm feeling sore, and so it was just kind of connecting. And when you get the pre-runs, you have a lot more time to connect and talk. Then in mumble chatter than you do maybe sometimes during the beatdowns. And so yeah, I don't typically have a problem sharing, but it just seems like those guys just naturally connected, and they've, and having the consistency of pace and things like that, we can go out and run together and have some fun. So
Nice. That's awesome.
yeah.
Was that as you were coming into the group, like what was it intimidating at all to start pre-running, or you just said, these guys are doing it, so I'm just going to show up and join them, or how did that go?
Yeah. I was an anti pre-runner for a long time. And it was like, well, I'm already getting in 45 minutes. I can go hard during the 45 minutes. And actually what changed my mindset, because I had done a couple, was JC, John Claude, told me one morning, he goes, man, if I get out there and I pre-run, then I know that the beatdown, whether I go hard or I get through it, it's just extra credit. And he's like, and that kind of shifted my mindset. I said, okay, well, if I get out for pre-runs, then I know no matter what, I'm getting extra credit in the beatdown, whether it's a hard or I modify. And so it's just an extra 30, 45 minutes. And so I've changed a lot of that mentality to make sure I get out and pre-run. There's very few times now where I go to a beatdown, I don't pre-run. I'm pretty much pre-running consistently, whether it's 2 miles or the full 5K. That could be a difference. But the extra half hour in the morning hasn't been too bad. So
yeah, it's almost, you get to the point where if you don't pre-run, then you feel like you're missing out, if you don't get the pre-run in before the workout, or like you didn't get your money's worth kind of thing, right?
Yeah. I might even fart sack because I'm like, oh, I missed the pre-run already, and now I'm like, oh, I'll just go back to sleep and get the 45 minutes.
Or I'll just stay home and lift, or whatever the alternative is. Yeah. I've definitely had a few of those where I'm like, man, if I miss the pre-run, then I basically missed the whole experience, which is not true, but
No,
that is how you
absolutely
feel
not.
sometimes.
Yeah.
What as you think about, some of the other things within F3, and I don't know if you've done Q source at all, but kind of Q source kind of talks about like the concentrica. Do you feel like you've had a chance to kind of formulate that shield lock? It kind of sounds like you do, maybe an informal
Yeah.
version of that, but
Yeah, I've gone to Q source a couple times, and that's that is something that I should be more consistent at, and because I do get a lot out of it. Part of the fellowship, as we kind of talked about already, part of that is there's so many other guys out there that have their own story. Their own strengths and their own weaknesses, and in Q source a lot of times you get the vulnerability of, hey, this is what I'm not good at. Right.
yeah.
You talked about the struggles of night owls with the M's, and for me, it's communication. And oftentimes when I'm not communicating, hey, I want to work out tomorrow morning, and then we stay up super late, it's that's where it bites me, right?
Yeah.
And so hearing some of the other guys tell stories about how they've found success with communication with their family, and how they lead their family, or how they lead work life. Those are, you get a lot of that out in Q source, and just hearing other guys' stories, and being able to also find solutions that you might be having problems with.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. What about the like shield lock or whetstone? Any of that?
I haven't done, the shield lock for me has just been the group of guys that I've been just connecting with. There's nothing that we've done formally, so it's, but yeah, I haven't, I've done some of the different events, here and there, but, yeah, Q source is the only one that's kind of been, I know there's Queen service, there's other things out there that, and then as we get close to the holidays now too, we got a lot of those different toy drives and different opportunities for the, to help out, and that's something that I can continue to excel at and get better, even as we grow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting, right? Like the shield lock, trying like more of a formal, like, putting I don't know, it's like a formal label. A lot of guys sort of have mixed feelings about whether that's necessary, but I don't know. Curious, what are your thoughts on the whole shield lock thing? Is that something you're open to, just haven't had an opportunity, or?
Yeah. No, definitely open to it. I mean, I think that, I've built good enough relationships to where, that I have those close guys that I know I can count on and lean on if I'm not having a good time, or if I'm struggling with a certain problem in life. I can really open up and share on a pre-run or something like that. Or even just reach out randomly. And I found myself, even like if I'm missing workouts during the week, I know my communication just falls off with everybody in the group.
Yeah.
But when I'm consistently working out, can't tell you how many times where on my way home from a beatdown, I'm reaching out to a guy that I haven't seen in, a couple weeks or a month. Just checking in, just saying hi, hope all is well, sometimes it's a brand new little one. Sometimes it's a new job that keeps them away.
Yeah.
And it's just to say hi and that I'm here. And, whether we meet up or not, it's just checking in on our fellow packs. And it's, but when I'm not there, I can tell you that falls off quickly. So,
yeah, that's a good observation. I feel like that's probably true for me as well, right? Just like when I'm not, sort of, it's easy to get distracted and busy. And then I think when you're out there, you get reminded of like how important just a little nudge like that is, or even just hey, I'm thinking of you. I love that. That's such a good reminder. Talk me through, so one of the other pieces in that concentrica, right, is like relationship with your M and with your 2.0s. What do they think of F3, or maybe what's been the impact of you doing F3 on some of the family life?
Yeah. The 2.0. So I've got three boys. My oldest is 14, Storm. He's not my biological. He's my M's from a previous, and then my oldest is Cooper. He's 11, and he's from a previous. And we've got a 4-year-old Gray. And so I got all the boys in the house, man. They love running. They love doing all this stuff. They haven't gotten them all out consistently to a 2.0 beatdown. But we've Coop's been out a couple times and he loves it. And then even just even listen to the podcast sometimes, like, oh hey, he's talking about F3. Oh, they're talking about this, so they all get it. We do some of the exercises outside. They all play sports, football, basketball, the different things. So I take a lot of the stuff from the beatdowns that some of these guys throw at us and put it into the backyard and see how they do with it. So it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Do you get to coach them in sports at all, or?
Yeah, I do. And basketball is my thing, so it's kind of hard to let the reins go on that. It's like, hey, I've played so much, and then have a little bit of a competitive spirit. So if I'm sitting on the sideline there, I might be afraid of what I'll say. And so I just figured, hey, I'll just sit in the coach's chair and help out, whether it's assistant or head coach, whatever. I'm just like, I got to be there and have some type of influence on that. Football's one that I played growing up. I had a lot of success. I mean, it's funny, actually, I was all state in football and not basketball. But
That's funny.
I mean, like, I don't coach formally. I've done some 7-on-7, some flag, but and it's just coaching, helping kids, it's really fun. So
that's awesome. What about like any impact F3 has had on your marriage, or even I guess I would be curious too, like other than just bringing workouts to the kids, like I would think it would impact your coaching and some of that stuff too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's just the leadership aspect. When you're leading a workout, I can't tell you how many times where I create a beatdown. I'm like, this is gonna go great. This is gonna be awesome. And then I'm out there and I'm explaining it. It's like crickets. It's like these guys. I'm like, where did I go wrong here? And I'm like, it can't be that hard.
Right.
There's 3 or 4 instructions. But so I think rehearsing that what you're doing for the beatdown and then figuring out and making some of those adjustments helps with coaching, because obviously you have to make that, and then the explanations. With boys in the house, you got to break everything down and slow down, and so that definitely helps. With the it's communication, man. It's like, hey, this is what I want. These are some of the goals that I have, and I'm definitely not the staple child for communication. So I'm always looking for helpful tips from my fellow packs to help, and that's about the leadership, right? And so you hear little things in Q source of, hey, we do family meetings once a month or something like that. There's a lot of ways to help create that guidance and that leadership from a family perspective.
Heck yeah. You made a comment there, and I'm gonna dig in a little bit, but you can tell me you don't feel like answering this. But so you've got 3 kids. One of them is your wife's kid from another marriage. One of them is your kid from a previous, and then the last one is yours together.
Yep.
Right, if I'm piecing that together. What's that been like, just to go through some of those changes, and whether it be having a blended family or just I'm assuming that you've been divorced, right? I don't know that. Yep. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know. Would love to just hear from your perspective, because I think a lot of guys have gone through that and been through that, and I know it's not an easy experience, but would just love to kind of hear your take. How has life been in that manner, and what has maybe helped you get through some of those tough times?
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. Having little ones be away for X period of time, a couple days here and there, you get the boys in and out of the house. It's tough. The good thing is that it's been a healthy relationship amongst all. And so when you're able to communicate consistently with either side, Storm, Johnny, his dad is a great guy, so I'm able to communicate and talk with him. When parents set aside their feelings or animosity towards their relationship, and then can realize and recognize it's for the kids and making sure that everybody stays healthy, and it's just another person that loves them.
Yeah.
And I don't ever call myself Storm's dad. I'm like, hey, I'm just here to help you, buddy, whatever you need. But in the same way, I wouldn't expect my ex Lisa, her husband Sean, to fill that role as a dad for Cooper. But I know that he loves him, and he's there. And so, that's the most important thing. And so, yeah, there's definitely times of struggle, because then you have the, hey, this is what I want at my house. This is what I want at mom or dad's house or whatever.
Yeah.
So you have that, or you get the, I'm a little bit more of a lenient parent. And so I'm like, well, yeah, why can't he do that? And then I need to recognize that, hey, there's another side. So there's a couple times where I'm balancing on all fronts of my current relationship and my ex and my parenthood and all that. So yeah, it can be challenging. It makes it even more fun to get out in the morning and be able to work out and talk through some of those thoughts with some of the fellas, and get some feedback of, hey, you're either being an idiot or you need to listen. That's been nice. So
Heck yeah. Have you EH'd either of the other guys?
I've tried, man. I've tried. It's not working. It's not working. But it's been, let's see, it's been a couple years, so maybe one more year I can get them out. 3 years maybe is the mark.
Yeah.
And they know a lot of the guys too that are out too. So it's the morning aspect is what scares them. But when you're out in the morning and then you feel the cold breeze, or it's something different, man, and it's right. So you just got to get them out there, and they'll like it.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I know it's probably not your favorite thing to talk about, but I think it's cool, I think, for guys to hear, right, this example of really a communication, right? And I love how you put that, right? Being able to put aside your individual, preferences and differences to prioritize what the kids need. I think that's phenomenal. So that's really cool to hear that you guys have that type of setup. I love it. Hey, are you the type of guy that likes to get up early in the winter to battle your jester? Do you love listening to people drone on and on and on about COVID in the gloom? Would you trust your vision to a guy nicknamed Cataracts? Well, if the answer to any of these questions is yes, fellas, you have bigger problems than you think. Dr. Cataracts, aka Dr. Wolf, can't solve all of your problems, but he can certainly help you solve the problems related to your eye health and vision. You will find many F3 principles throughout his practice. Check him out today at Exclusively Eye Care. So thinking about fitness, fellowship, faith, thinking about the third F side of things, would love to hear kind of your, I don't know, a lot of times we ask guys, like, what was life like growing up? Has faith been a part of things? So talk us through what your experience has been on the faith piece.
Yeah. From a faith perspective. So I grew up Catholic. Family was consistent, Sunday church. My dad was military, so it was we lived in Minot Air Force Base for the first 13 years just ish of my life. And so we were pretty consistent churchgoers, and coming here to Omaha is kind of what changed a little bit. I think the change from an Air Force base to an open community where now you're integrated with everybody, military and non-military, also brings in some of the the complexities of, hey, this I don't know my neighbor, or I don't know, I talk about my childhood. I grew up with, a 9-foot fence surrounding me, every quarter, every mile. So everybody knew everybody on the Air Force Base, where my brother's 7 years younger than me. And, we moved here into Omaha, and he couldn't really move. He couldn't go play across the street really, because it was just like, hey, you're just a little bit more scared of what's out there.
Unique to Offutt, or I guess I didn't realize.
I've been at a couple other bases that are a lot more housing is on the Air Force Base than versus integrated. But yeah, Offutt was, Minot is really 10 miles away from the actual city of Minot, and so it's very secluded from civilian life. And where Omaha is definitely integrated, and so that, and just kind of that change, I think broke us up from the consistency of Sundays. And then going to school, I kind of lost, I wouldn't say I lost faith, but just lost the consistency of going to church and things like that. But I've been fortunate enough here over the last 3-4 years to be connected with Calvary,
Yeah,
and it's been a blessing, man. That's always believe in Jesus and what He's done for my life, and may not be a consistent churchgoer, but I'm always open and willing to talk about it and hear, and I know that He's always there for me. So.
that's awesome. We did one of the counselors that we saw, my wife and I, she was at Christ the King, their like city care thing, and then she moved to Calvary. I remember driving to
Okay.
Bellevue to go see her, and I'm like, oh, it's a huge congregation though over there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's big now. Yeah, there's 4 or 5 churches connected to it, and so, yeah, it's they got a big community down here in Bellevue and Papillion, so it's been fun.
That's awesome. What do you think in terms of like, F3, like has that played a role at all in your faith or kind of rekindling some of that, or what's that been like?
Yeah, I think that definitely having the prayer at the end is always there, and I think there's always for me it's always like what do I need, and I'm always talking when I talk to Jesus, I'm talking about, hey, here's the struggles that I'm going through, help me, guide me, and it's I guess feels selfish in some right, and being a part of some of the prayer channels, and then hearing prayers at the end of the beatdown, really helps me open up to think about others, think about other
Mhm.
struggles, and give prayer to those who might need it. Also put into perspective of life, man. Very few beatdowns do you hear, hey, there's no prayers today. There's always something, right?
Mhm.
And so that's definitely opened up my faith, to be able to help and show gratitude to others and give back to who may need it.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah, it is interesting, right? The prayers that you hear out there are always, at least for me, a good reminder that whatever I think I'm going through is not that big of a deal. I think like you hear some people whose loved ones are dying or cancer or kids with illnesses. I mean, the list goes on and on. We heard about one this morning that was a young high school kid that drove himself into a tree. It sounds like got suspended from school, and and so you hear stuff like that, and you're like, okay, whatever I was frustrated about or sad about, or it just is not that big of a deal, And I
Yeah.
always, I'm so selfish, I think by nature that I need that reminder, right? I need I need God to sort of show me like
Yeah.
you're fine, you're gonna be just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't know, man, you don't, and it's, that's what gives me the reminder of being out in the morning, whether it's the COT message or the prayers. It's like, hey, let's reach out to somebody who, whether I know they're sick or not, or, family member going through something. It's just like checking in and just saying, hey, I'm here if you need anything, even
Mhm.
if it's just a coffee or anything, and so it's definitely a reality check for sure, and that helps keep it in the front of your mind.
Heck yeah. How's the faith thing with kids and the family, and how's that all work? Because your kids are getting older. I suppose you've got a decent spread there too of ages, but I mean, you've got at least one that's getting ready for high school, right?
Yep. Yeah. It's like I said, it's not an every Sunday thing. Although that would be a nice reality. I think that we talk about it often. It's, hey, we got to get here, and then all of a sudden,
Mhm.
football season starts, and my Vikings always play at noon on Sundays. So there's no, and so it's always like, hey, we need to get out and do that more. Some things that we try and get in consistently are, reading the Bible for 5 minutes just as a family and talking about, what did we just read, what
Yeah.
stood out to you, and just hearing some of those things. I think that helps bring family together and talk about, whatever's top of mind or whatever stood out to, to one of the boys or to me or to my whatever in that scripture. And so, when we're on our game, those are good things that we're doing as a family. Puts away the iPads, puts away the screen, kind of
Mhm.
calms everybody down. And then you also get to hear some of the struggles of school and things like that you might not hear just on the way home from school. And so those are good times. So.
I love it. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways, right? And I think church is so much more than just the building. on Sunday. So I think there's, it's definitely good to be a part of that. But I love it, man. I think it's just one of those things where being that example for your boys, and being able to show them, a direction or a moral compass, I think is huge. So good work on that. I would be
Yeah.
curious too, as you're thinking about, in F3, right? We kind of have like the spiritual side of the third F, and then we have some of the community service stuff. And I'm guessing with your competitive nature that you've done the Freed to Bleed, but I don't know. I would be curious if you gone out for
I
any.
haven't. No, I look at those every month though. Yeah, no. Maybe that'll be something I do. I sign up. That's got to be coming up here in the next week or two. I'll sign up. No, I do look at those though, and I'm like, man, I wonder, because that's not, I'm not a huge fan of needles, but I'm also like not like it's just getting there. And that's one way. Like I said, I need to. There's so many opportunities to give back. That's one thing I need to do at least. So yeah, no, I do check the leaderboards even if I'm not on there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
The next one I think is on December 19th, and that's actually my 40th birthday. So I'm gonna go for that one. I don't always, I think, because normally the community blood bank, which is a decent drive for me to get there, but I'm gonna go to that one and see how fast I can bleed at 40, and then I'll just I'll kind of do it as a health test, I suppose. But
there you go. Yeah, my 40th is in a couple years, and I've been talking about this Ironman thing, and I'm like, I did the marathon, and so now I'm like, I had this Ironman goal, and then the half Ironman, I'm looking at that and talking to Ferdinand and all these guys that have signed up, and I'm like, man, that's gonna be tough. But I'm like, hey, it's all about completion. It's not about I don't need to beat those guys. But if I can complete it, that would be a pretty cool thing. So that's kind of my earmark.
Is that running, biking, and swimming, or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Swim, then you bike, then you run. Yep. The swim's I think a little over a mile. The bike's 55 miles, and then the run is half. And so yeah, it would be. The sprint was only a half mile swim, 12. Little over 12-mile bike, and then a 5K, so it was significantly lighter, but I did that, and I'm still alive, so I think I keep pushing it a little bit.
I'm picturing you with you see those T-shirts where they're like, "You didn't die, did you?" or whatever.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Oh, that's funny. Well, tell me, the other thing I want to get your thoughts on, right, is the leadership piece, right? So, our mission to plant, grow, serve small workout groups for the invigoration of male community leadership, and certainly we try to do that with your VQ and leading a site and all of that. So, would love to hear your thoughts on sort of how you might have grown as a leader through some of those activities.
Yeah, I think as a leader, and I thought about this question quite a bit. And I think there's really two parts. And the first one with our group is being the site Q is always just trying to help out the guys in their workouts, right? And whether it's even guys that have done 100 beatdowns, it's like, hey, do you need lights? Do you need, a speaker? Do you need anything, anything to enhance the beatdown as they've written it? For new guys like VQs, it's given them, hey, here's some resources, here's some different workout ideas, or here's some, the workout lexicon. Go look, so then that way you kind of see some different exercises. And then even when I'm leading my beatdowns, trying to just, if I know a newer guy's there that we have that strict cadence of hey, starting I'm doing 10 Merkins on my down, starting position move exercise, right? And so that can be kind of intimidating if you don't know. Khakis always does that Q school. It's like that's always fun to be a part of, but I always try and get them just a little flavor, just allow them an opportunity to get a 10 count in, to get in cadence or something like that, and just help kind of get that progression. It also helps me get a break too. So there's a little side bonus, but no, I think that leadership is just kind of getting those guys active and talking. I'm naturally a talker, so it comes normal to me. But I know if you can get kind of exposed to that, it might free up a little bit, get you a little bit more excited. for me, I felt like after like my first couple weeks, I was ready to do a VQ. I was like, yeah, I can do this. You know, and it went. You know, whether it went well or went poorly, I don't. You have to ask the crowd. But you know, it's fun to be out there and leading. So yeah, it's kind of two different aspects of it. You know, from a site queue perspective, but also kind of when I'm leading beatdowns too.
That's awesome. It's really cool too, because I think a lot of those lessons and a lot of the things we've been talking about today, right? Just the gratitude or, you know, perspective shifts, right? Those are all transferable to home and work. And I don't know, are you in a leadership role at work, or have you had a chance to apply some of the principles or learnings from F3 in the workplace?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think so I'm a personal CFO for families. So I help families retire comfortably, answer questions, all that type of jazz. So we also have 4 office admin that I manage. So there's a lot of challenges to that. And you know, trying to help people grow in a direction when, hey, we're all wearing, you know, we're a small company of 6 people, so it's you know, there's everybody's wearing different hats on a daily basis, and it might not be the hat that you want to wear on a consistent daily basis. And so trying to help people grow in that instance, and I think that correlates right well with F3 and the beatdowns, is helping guys find their niche in the workout, helping them grow as an individual, whether that's the workout aspect or the mind, right, or spiritually, and so I'll definitely bring that to the workplace, trying to encourage everybody around, and then also have consistent messaging, right? It's little things. You know, we do our, you know, 5 core principles, we do our mission statement, we do our credo, and you know, in a workplace, sometimes you're like, hey, this is, you know, the mission statement is just written on the wall and no one talks about it. Well, if you come and you bring it every day, then you're gonna live it, right? And so it's kind of that reminder, and it's like, hey, what are we here for? And why are we working? And it's to help people retire, and that's what we do. And so we always talk about, you know, our company's called DCT, and it's dreams come true. So we're always trying to help families get their dreams. So it's pretty neat.
Is that your own business? Did you start that on your own, or is that?
I didn't know. I joined a guy. He's out of Chicago. So his name's Jeff Johnson. He's a great guy. Just been fortunate enough, as a, you know, prior to this year. So I just joined him this year in January. I was a business coach. That's where Firewalker and I, had known each other for a long time. And so, he was one of my coaching clients. And he was like, hey, I need this. I need this role. I need the director of operations. I need another personal CFO with me. And he was, I saw the way he lived his life. He's a spiritual guy. He loves giving back to his community, giving back to his family. And I was like, you know, this is a guy I want to emulate. And he hasn't done F3 yet. I'm trying to get him to, I've been to Evansville, some of the Chicago beatdowns, so I'm going to get him out there one day, but yeah, he's quite the leader. So
that's awesome. That's really cool. I think it, yeah, I love hearing about, you know, just what other guys do. So you have a finance background then? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. I graduated from UNO with a finance degree. I started off right out of college working for John Hancock. So I was more of an insurance salesman than a financial advisor. And then shifted into the back office of Securities America, doing some finance for advisors and helping them out, helping with their business. And I miss the client interaction, helping people. Especially when it's not your day-to-day job, makes it even more complex, right? And so that's what's really filled up my bucket to be able to help people do that. So
heck yeah. Well, and all the more, you know, I think for us, like in my work, we went remote with the pandemic, right? So then, you know, some of that human interaction that maybe you were getting at work, you know, different type of relationships, but man, F3, you know, just being able to be with other people, I mean, is really, really great. So I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
What, as you're thinking about, you know, leadership and maybe just life in general, I would be curious what, any advice that you have for for guys? I don't know if guys are taking over a site, or maybe guys are thinking about coming out to F3, or maybe just some words of wisdom as you've lived your life and things you've learned. What's on that list for you?
Yeah, that's a tough question. That's a tough one. I would say this is what's been top of mind for me is pushing through challenges. I said this I queued last week, and I was like, hey, if you're going through hell, keep on going. Right, and it's that country song always comes to mind, but it's like, there's times in beatdowns and pre-runs even where I'm a mile in and I'm ready to just, hey, let me ruck the rest of the way. Let me ruck this last, and just turn around and just start heading back to the site, and our mind plays a big trick on us. And so whether it's getting out there for a first time, like, hey, somebody's been talking to you and you're like, hey, I'm not sure if I want to get up at 5:15 and get out there with the guys. Try something different, try something hard. I could tell you that there's very few times in life that I've regretted trying to do something hard, and haven't come out better on the other side. And so that's what I would say. That's whether you're leading something different that you normally might not lead, or you're changing a beat down because you're like, hey, I just want to put a little spin on this and see how it goes. It's just keep challenging yourself and keep pushing.
I love it. That's really great advice. I think it's super applicable too across multiple domains, right? Whether it's a workout or something going on at home. I mean, yeah, I like that. That's solid.
Yeah.
Well, anything else? I mean, it's been awesome just kind of hearing your journey and your story, but anything that maybe we didn't cover that you wanted to share or get off your chest, or you feel like we covered it all?
No, I think we made a reference to the bell tower, Dongtown. I think that was just fun stuff. Guys being out there in the morning having some fun. No, definitely bell tower is here to stay. Everybody has those little callbacks. So you hear it now and then. But yeah, I can tell you that I'm just thankful for the guys that came before me. I'm thankful for all the F3 guys. You can go to any site, whether you know somebody there or you don't, and somebody's going to say something, say hi, run with you. I'm always like, when we say the credo of leave no man behind, but leave no man where we found him. I always say here because I'm going to probably be that guy. But it's like, there's always somebody coming back to pick me up, or if I'm not the last guy, I'm like, hey, I'm going to turn around and go help them. So I'm just thankful for all the F3 community just to be a part of it, because there is a lot of great hymns out there, and it's pretty cool to be a part of. That's for sure.
Heck yeah, man. Well, really well said. And I think that's always a good reminder, right? Picking up the 6. And I think I had somebody the other day, their COT was picking up the 6, but in all of the Fs. And so that was kind of made me think that was a really good one. Like not just if you see somebody straggling behind in a workout, but other areas of life too. So I really appreciated that one.
Absolutely. That's good.
Where we like to kind of end or wrap up is just current state life is happening, right? What do you need prayers or support or encouragement for?
Yeah, I would say the mental battle. It's always one as we come into the winter, right? The sun's not up as much, so you get the dark, sleepy at 5:30 in the afternoon, and so it's just hey, the mental can your mind can play tricks on you, and so I just ask for continued prayers for the mental battle, just to always stay strong, keep coming out. Because like I said, I never regret coming out in the morning. It's just getting there. It's building those habits to get up and be out there. And so, yeah.
Heck yeah, definitely. Yeah. You and me both, man. I think this time of year, and I don't know, any time of year, really, I can get in my head about, silly stuff. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I'll be praying for you on that for sure.
Thanks,
Well,
buddy.
again, thank you for just taking time to share your story, and just for living up, we've had however many consecutive episodes of just guys being awesome, and having these amazing stories where they've worked through challenges in life and have come out on the other side, just having a huge impact on their communities and their families. And so it's been awesome. I appreciate you so much. We'll do a little NAMO to wrap us up. Sound good?
All right.
All
Yeah.
right. Brandon Fleehardy, 39, The Plague.
The Plague. Jeff Martin, 38, Korver.
Korver, and we're supposed to say Brick, or that was Swish.
It's Swish. That's better. Yeah.
Appreciate you, brother. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you too, man.
Scars on our hands, hope in our chest. We're not defined by the weight of the test. Brothers in step, we carry the flame. Different roads, but the heart beats the same. Every man's got a story to tell. From the valley low to the mountaintop, yeah. Every man's got a story inside. Standing strong, we won't hide. Every man, yeah, every man's got a story. We've been broken, we've been bruised, but we rise again and we don't get to choose. Through the fire, through the fight, every man's story burns in the night. Scars on our hands, hope in our chest. We're not defined by the weight of the test. Brothers in step, we carry the flame. Different roads, but the heart beats the same. On a story to tell, from the valley low to the mountaintop, yell. Every man's got a story inside. Different roads, but the heart beats the same. Every man's got a story to tell. From the valley low to the mountaintop, yeah. Every man's got a story inside. Standing strong, we won't hide. Every man, yeah, every man's got a story. Every man's got a story. Voices rise like thunder, they roll. Truth in the pain, it's shaping the soul. Chains may rattle, but they break in time. Every man's story is yours and mine. From the struggle to the glory, every man's got a story. In the dark or in the light, we keep marching through the night. Every man's got a story inside. Every man's got a story to tell. From the valley low to the mountaintop hill. Every man to the mountaintop hill.